Hello everybody and welcome in this video, this little video. I will keep it short. Today I would like to teach you, or I would say more exactly to introduce you in case you don't know, the finally keyword in PHP when you are dealing with exceptions. You probably know the try-catch block when an exception is being thrown and you don't. So you try, if something goes bad, it will go to the catch block. If nothing goes bad, it will be all fine and it will be kept in the try block. So when you are using a try catch block, it's when you know a function or something inside of the try block might go bad, might go wrong, and an exception might be thrown. And then if an exception is thrown, automatically it will exit and it will go to the catch block and nothing else will be executed, meaning all of the instructions won't be executed anymore in the try block and it will go right away in the catch block. However, sometimes we need to have a code, something to be executed all the time, no matter what, at all times it will be executed. And this is what finally block is doing. The finally block in PHP, it's available since PHP 5.5. I was waiting actually for that one for quite a long time because it was in the time when I was building PH7 CMS, PH7 Builder nowadays. I rebranded my CMS, but back in the time in 2011, 2010, because I started PH7 CMS in 2009, and I remember I knew already about the finally block that it will be available soon in PHP. I was waiting for it because in other programming languages it was already there for quite a long time, such as Java, for instance. I was using already finally block in Java, but in PHP it wasn't available. And then there was like a kind of a rumor saying, oh yeah, finally block will come very soon. It was still PHP 5.3. and normally it was supposed to be available, and then I was waiting for PHP 5.4, and technically it should have been available back then in PHP 5.4, but for some reason it didn't happen, and in PHP 5.5 it was the time, and they introduced officially the finally block. So I will show it to you. There's some documentation you can read, and I suggest you to read them. So I'm just writing them down here. Let's be a little bit faster. So that's from my CMS. I just copied paste before to prepare this video, and here it's also a little explanation. In try catch, the finally block is used to execute a code block, so the code to execute it. So no matter what, no matter if an error occurred or not, it will be executed. Whether or not something is being thrown, finally will always be there, will always be executed. PHP will always, in your code flow, it will always be reached. And it can be used to contain, so the flow of the application, like for instance something important in this example here. I will show it to you. I will zoom a little bit. It's when we have to deal with sessions, for instance, or sometimes when we need to close the database connection. So no matter if an exception has been thrown here, we can also have a catch block there. It's optional, but you can have a catch block like this. And now, by the way, since PHP 8.0, this variable is optional if we don't need to deal with the object. If we have to, obviously we need to declare the variable there. It can be E, usually is like a convention for exception, but you can do just error like this, or it can be except for exception, you know. But if you don't have to deal with the object of the exception, then you can just omit this, and that's only possible since PHP 8. Anyways, in today's video, it's about the finally block. So we'll just remove this. And so you have your application here. And let's imagine I throw an exception, you see. And normally, if I throw an exception, I want to handle the exception there, and I will handle the exception. Oops, like this. So we'll just do get message. So get message will be error in this case. So I need to do an echo. But finally will always be executed. These instructions will always be executed, no matter if we don't have an exception being thrown, or if we do have one, this one will always be executed. We can have a look here if you wish. So just do this. You see PHP finally keywords, again similar, you know, you have finally and process complete. So like I said, you can have either try or finally. So here we have try, catch and finally, but we can only have try and finally, or like, yeah, try, catch, finally. Perfect. So it's really handy. Database connection, perfect. And we can yeah, so in our case it could be like db close, and so you make sure that your MySQL or MariaDB or Postgres database connection is being closed, no matter if we have an exception or not. Finally will be executed, and it's kind of handy, and it makes your code cleaner rather than having to do it outside of the try, catch, so on block. Here we have try, catch, and then finally we can see properly step by step, and it helps to read better the code per block. And I will probably show you an example. Echo I am always, I will just use the single quotes. I am always here. Perfect. And then I will do catch, and here exception, and it will be echo. Oh yes, so then I will declare the variable here, echo get message. Perfect. So let's try this. I will open my terminal, and no, I don't want to update it now. I will do PHP S for server, localhost 8080. Let's go there, and here I will just type the finally exception.php, oops, like this, dash.php. Perfect. Error, I'm always here, and then if we don't catch the error, it will still be here. You see, I can even do, I will maybe do that, adding a new line like this. So if I check the source code, the source of the code, I'm always here. I throw the exception, error, I'm always here. And then if I remove the catch block, oh, there is because let's see, 18. Oh yeah, the exception wasn't caught. Yeah, because we don't use the catch. So this is why we need to. It's optional, the catch block in this case, but PHP is saying that we didn't catch the exception. It's the same as, if you throw an exception, but you don't have a try catch block in the upper level of your application. So like in the parent level. So in our case, if I don't throw an exception, you see that will be fine. And then we could have a try and catch block in the upper level, and then that will be fine. You see, we have try finally only, but here we have try and I will still catch the exception. And you see, here we go, and I'm always here. It's happening from there. So now you know how to use the finally block. I hope this helps. I suggest you also to, oh yeah, that was a tweet, a funny tweet, just in case you are interested too about, the finally block. I was speaking to you, and finally it got available since PHP 5.5. That was back in 2012. So finally block is not new, but it's not being used a lot. Although, you don't have to use it very often. That's true, but sometimes it might be handy, or it might improve the readability of your code. And if you come from other languages such as Java, the finally block, you might be very familiar with the family block. So it's always something good to know, and I believe sooner or later you might have to use it, especially in more complex applications. So I hope this video helps, and I wish you all the best. Happy coding! As a last bonus, I just wanted to show you another use case you can do is to send an email, for instance. The example I have shown you just before was to make sure we are closing the session of the user if we have a session there. It could be also to close the database connection. This one, the snippet from my PH7 CMS, PH7 builder I have used in the past was to close the session in the finally block. In our case now, the use case I would like to show you is to send an email or to send a log event. For instance, for log entries, if you use log entries, or could be AWS CloudWatch, you will send a log here. So try catch, and no matter what, if you need to log something, or again, it could be to send an email. So even if it doesn't fail, or if it does fail, we still want to send an email, it could be useful. So it will have like a function, send email, and here I will define a function, send email for the user. And we always want the email to be sent. And the last thing I would like to share with you, for you to understand well the try catch block, try to imagine this a little bit like a if else. The if else condition. Well, here try is like if everything goes well, if we don't have an exception being thrown, that's fine. Else we are in the catch block. And the error handling is so important in every application. You should always catch your exceptions, because a program, an application should never have an error like a fatal error. You should catch it to handle it in a proper way, so there will be no interruption in your application. I wish you all the best programming, coding, and having fun. See you in the next video.